Good morning, everyone. I am Jean Twinkle L. Bucket. In the Germany, they have two ways of voting in selecting their candidates. One for a candidate in their constituency or in their electoral district, and one for political party. In that process, it is called a personalized proportional representation system in Germany. Germany also have two important leaders in their country, the president and the chancellor. In Germany, the head of the state is the president, while the head of the government is the chancellor. First, let's talk about the president in the Germany. In Germany, the presidents are not elected. They are chosen by a committee of Bundestag members. So at that time, the voters select his or her favorite candidate to represent their district in the parliament. Whoever they choose will surely guarantee a seat from the Bundestag. That's their way or process of choosing their candidates in the Germany. So what is the function of the role of the German president as the head of the state? German president is the figurehead of democracy and the guardian of constitution. In this action, the public appearances or the federal president make the state itself into existence, legitimacy, and the unity must visible. Another task of a president as the head of the state is to propose a chancellor to the lower house of parliament called the Bundestag. Being the head of state, the president is empowered among other things too. First is to propose a candidate to the Bundestag or the lower house of the German parliament for the office of federal chancellor. Second is to appoint and dismiss the federal chancellor or other ministers and the federal judges. Third is to dissolve the Bundestag upon the request from the federal chancellor if the Bundestag are not supportive of the federal chancellor's policies through the vote of confidence. Fourth is to promulgate legislation that has been passed by the legislative branch. And fifth is to represent Germany both at home and abroad, accredit and receive envoys, and conclude treaties with the foreign states. And last is to pardon individual offenders and award honors on behalf of Germany. The president in the Germany is indirectly elected for a 5-year term, renewable once by the Federal Convention, established solely for the presidential election. The Federal Convention is made up of all members of the Bundestag and an equal number of representatives elected by the state legislatures. So the president is elected by the secret ballot without any prior debate. So, the president has a term of 5 years and can only be re-elected once by the Federal Convention. So, ang maingon tag Federal Convention is mauni sila ag katong mga members sa Bundestag. So, any German citizen over the age of 40 is eligible for the candidate and can be able to become a president in the country. Here, in this picture, it is the president of the Germany named Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Since March 2017, he has been the president of the Germany, and he was previously the Minister of the Foreign Affairs. So Frank-Walter is a German politician. He is currently the 12th President of the Federal Republic of the Germany. Steinmeier is a member of the Social Democratic Party of Germany, or the SPD, holds a doctorate in law and was formerly a career civil servant. Next is the Chancellor in the Germany. So the Chancellor in the Germany ran as the largest political party in Germany's Bundestag. So the Bundestag elects this Chancellor through a election process. So lahi ra sila sa president, no? Then, in selecting their political party or the chancellor, she or he must command a majority of votes in parliament in order to be elected. So, the federal chancellor is the head of the government, as I've said earlier. So, according to the basic law, the federal chancellor is empowered among other things too. First is to propose ministerial candidates for appointment by the president to the cabinet. Second is to chair the cabinet and reconcile the difference among ministers. Third is to determine the government policies. And last is to command and armed forces in case the country is under attack. So to be elected as the federal chancellor, the candidate has to obtain an absolute majority of votes in the Bundestag in order to receive the formal appointment from the president. Sa Germany, naa sila'y proseso nga if ang candidate sa chancellor is failed to secure an absolute monarchy in the first round of voting, a second round is held. And if ma-fail pa jud ang ikaduha nga round, then the third round is take immediately until the candidates gain a votes at least 5% in the popular vote. So it means that if candidate siya for chancellor, kinahanglan nga makakuha siya og 5% nga botar gikan sa mga members sa Bundestag. In this picture, she is the chancellor of the Germany. He is the current chancellor named Angela Merkel, who was elected in 2005 and re-elected in 2009, 2013, and 2018. So maon siya ang chancellor sa Germany. So here is the example of political parties in the Germany. We have here the 6 political parties. First is the Christian Democrats. The SPD or the Christian Democrat has been Germany's most electorally successful party. Second is the Social Democrats or the SPD. The SPD is Germany's oldest party and thought of as its second largest. Third is the Greens. Germany has one of the most successful green parties in the world. Fourth is the Free Democrats or the FDP, positioned to the right of the CDP, economically but socially very liberal. The FDP is hard to place in German politics. Next is the Die Link, created in 2007 by left-wing dissidents in the SDP. Die Link is a left-wing party that draws inspiration from anti-capitalist thinkers. And last is the Alternative for Germany or the AfD, highly controversial. AfD is a right-wing nationalist party that seek to reduce immigration and occupies anti-Islam position. In the Germany, they have 2 political parties that has been the major parties of the government from the past 70 years. It is the SPD or the Social Democrats and the SPD or the Christian Democrats. Germany government is made up of 3 main parts: the legislative, executive, and the judicial branch. First, let's talk about the executive branch in the Germany. The head of the government is the Chancellor and is elected by the absolute majority in the Federal Assembly for a 4-year term. The Chancellor holds the executive power, which includes implementing the law and managing the everyday business of the country. The head of the state is the president. It is elected for a 5-year term by the Federal Convention, and the role of the president of the Germany is largely ceremonial. But he can refuse to sign a bill into law if he believes that it is unconstitutional or the proper democratic procedure was not achieved or was not observed. Next is the legislative branch of the Germany's government. So the legislative power in Germany is bicameral. The parliament consists of the 2 chambers, the Bundestag and the Bundesrat. When we say Bundestag, it is the lower house, and the second chamber, which is the Bundesrat, means the upper chamber, which has 69 seats, and the members are delegates of the 16 Länder or regions of the country. So the legislative power belongs to both the government and parliament. German citizens enjoy considerable political rights. Last is the judicial branch. The judicial system comprises 3 types of courts in the Germany. First is the ordinary courts, second is the specialized courts, and third is the constitutional courts. Ordinary courts dealing with criminal and most civil cases are the most numerous by far, And the specialized courts hear cases related to administrative, labor, social, fiscal, and patent law. Then the constitutional courts focus on judicial review and constitutional interpretation. So the Federal Constitutional Court is the highest court and has played a vital role through its interpretative rulings on the basic law.